Hi everyone, it's Dr. Ramani. Welcome back to this YouTube channel on narcissism, narcissistic abuse, and all kinds of issues related to toxic people and toxic relationships. Today, very useful video. I'm going to be talking about the different types of baiting. Before we get to that, as always, I invite you, please subscribe to this channel. If you're interested in doing more work on healing, and reminder too, go to the video notes, get more information on the deep dive into healing program we've got. But let's talk, though, about the different types of baiting because it's such a toxic dynamic. Baiting is one of the most nefarious and insidious dynamics of the narcissistic relationship. As difficult as these relationships are, many people feel that they can stay the course of gray rocking, firewalling, not engaging, but when you are poked or baited, it can feel like all bets are off. Many people have said to me, come on, expecting me to stay completely neutral in the face of someone insulting my kids or my family or my work or my traumas. I feel like I'm disrespecting myself if I don't fight back. I get that. Baiting is a gambit that works really well for the narcissist, and it pulls you in multiple directions. I know I'm not supposed to respond, but I don't want to be a doormat, and then I hate how I feel afterwards when I don't engage. It's very complicated. One thing that can help is to recognize the different kinds of baiting. And listen, I only know what I know. If there's a kind of baiting that you have experienced that I don't talk about here, please let all of us know about it, and please drop it in the comments. So, let's start with number one. How dare you gray rock or firewall me baiting? Gray rock and firewalling, the non-emotional responding style to a narcissist, is a tool for existing in the relationship if you can't leave it. It involves being neutral, sometimes flat emotionally, and not sharing about yourself. The narcissistic person does not like that. Your calmness means that they aren't getting the satisfaction of a rise out of you, and they want to know that they still have that power. So they bait, and if they bait enough, you will break, and they will get the satisfaction of seeing your emotion, which frankly regulates them. They do not like the idea that someone stops giving them narcissistic supply in any way, and you getting upset, it's a form of narcissistic supply. Number two is the I want to feel better after my tantrum baiting. Narcissistic people are often quite dysregulated, especially when they do not get their way. But they also know that to be too ragey and screamy is not a good look. Their impulsive rage means that they regularly have unattractive blow-ups, and in more cases than not, they know that those blow-ups make them look bad. Misery loves company, and foolish behavior looks less foolish if someone else is behaving in a dysregulated bad way at the same time. So they want other people to throw tantrums too, right? It makes their tantrum look less bad. So they will bait you after they have one of their meltdowns. Maybe they will blame you, but however they do it, then your visible or anger or your visible emotion means that their tantrum, at least in their eyes, wasn't that bad. Number three is the I am going to use your vulnerabilities against you baiting. Remember how you thought once upon a time that this relationship you had with this person was so open and they were sharing so much so you could be so vulnerable. What would unfortunately happen is that all of those vulnerabilities, traumas, family issues, even past experiences you felt bad about that you may have shared are all brought back up and used against you. For many people, this can foster a sense of self-blame because people will blame themselves for sharing about themselves. And please don't do that to yourself. It's natural to want to have the connection and the intimacy of sharing. And when the narcissist throws the vulnerabilities you shared back at you and you react strongly, you'll be caught in the mess of feeling a mix of emotions of having this past experience thrown at you and managing the emotions that you may express. Number 4 is the I am going to make you look bad in front of other people baiting. When you're in a close relationship with a narcissist, they actually do love to make you look bad in front of other people. It allows them to maintain dominance and superiority in front of others, while leaving you looking sort of foolish or somehow less, and maybe even leaving people feeling that the narcissist is the unfortunate one if they have to be with someone like you who is just not doing so well, isn't as good as them. So the narcissist may say things in front of others that you may feel compelled to defend. You might be horrified that they were shared, and you may either react and get upset in front of those people or react later in private. But if you don't react in real time, for many people, they'll often become quite quiet, and other people may perceive that negatively, and then the narcissist still gets to look good. This is a tricky thing, though, for narcissists to do. They need to be very subtle in how they bait you in front of other people. It may be a tiny little barb that they throw in and try to play it off as a joke that leaves you feeling unsettled, or it may actually be something embarrassing. And if you react badly and strongly, others may look at your reaction oddly or think that you're overreacting. Number 5 is the I need to feel better about myself baiting. Now, this is similar to the I need to feel better after my tantrum baiting, but baiting, as we know, often sets up a whole gaslighting cycle. They bait, you bite, you react strongly, they keep their voice very calm and talk down to you, saying things like, you're getting a little worked up. I think you need to work on that temper of yours. They then look like, for a minute, like a very well-regulated, reasonable person, and you feel as though maybe they're right that you're too sensitive or too emotional, but you're also really upset. Again, it's a dominance move for them, and it's very upsetting for you because you're having a normal reaction to a situation. Number 6 is the I need to regulate baiting. Sometimes the narcissistic person is just craving a fight. They need a fight to regulate. Narcissistic brains like quick fixes. Arguments can often give those to them. So you may just be minding your business, and it may feel like they are looking for a fight. And no matter how deep you are, or gray rocky, or firewally, they just keep pushing and pushing and pushing until you snap a bit. And then they can let it rip and fight with you, and that regulates them. And then perhaps they even calm down. Narcissistic people cannot regulate themselves. They need stuff outside of them: drugs, alcohol, sex, spending, or yelling at people. Don't be their drug. If it's possible, get out of the space. Now, it's interesting. Where I have seen this I need to regulate baiting happen and where it is inescapable is in the car. And many people will report the narcissist using their sort of baiting meltdown in the car where you can't get away. Baiting, to me, is one of the most toxic dynamics in the narcissistic relationship because it really magnifies the self-doubt, the self-gaslighting, and other dynamics that leave a person blaming themselves, gaslighting themselves, and questioning themselves, which ultimately weakens your resolve. Now, we will be doing more videos on how to cope with being baited. But let's face it, when people go after you and say things about the sacred stuff in your life, your children or your beliefs or things that matter to you, sometimes we just take the bait. We aren't robots. We're human beings and we're going to react. The key is having self-compassion with yourself afterwards and recognizing the different types of baiting so you can understand what is happening and have more tools to cope with it. I hope that clears up some of the stuff about baiting. It's really important you understand it if you're going to be able to survive the wilds of narcissistic abuse.